Hey guys, so I've been reading Four Dead Queens by Astrid Schulte on my audiobook. I finished it last week, but I wanted a couple of days to get my thoughts together, and then I've just been busy, so I've taken a while to make the video. But I wanted to do a book review for you because this is an amazing book, and if you have not read it yet, you need to pick this up. Okay, so to start off, we've got the book summary. 17-year-old Carolee Corrington may seem harmless, but she's in fact one of Cordaria's most skilled thieves and liar. Varin, on the other hand, is an honest, upstanding citizen of Cordaria's most enlightened region, Ionia. He runs afoul of Carolee when she steals a package from him, putting his life in danger. When Varin attempts to retrieve his package, he and Carolee both find themselves entangled in a conspiracy that leaves all four of the Cordarian queens dead. With no other choice, and on the run from Carolee's former employer, the two decide to join forces, endeavouring to discover who has killed the queens and save their own lives in the process. When their reluctant partnership blooms into the tenuous romance, they must overcome their own dark secrets in hopes of a future together that seemed impossible just days before. But first they have to stay alive and untangle the secrets behind the nation's four dead queens. Guys, this is just an amazing... Oh, I know I've already said it, but it's amazing. I need to find more descriptive words right now. I really have been obsessed with this audiobook. It took me less than a week to listen to it. I physically could not put it down. Every spare minute I had, I was listening. I was trying to piece it together and work it out. And it's one of them books. I'm not a huge fan of the whole mysteries because, I don't know, it's one of them that I love watching them on TV, but I find it hard to picture it in a book sometimes. But with this one, I don't know whether it's because I listened to it rather than read it, but I could see it all happening in my head. I could see every little detail that was being described, and I was piecing it together, or I thought I was, and it was just, there are so many twists in this book. Like, I'm going to get into a spoiler portion of the review later on, and I will warn you ahead, and I will write down below at what time it gets to a spoiler review. But yeah, it was one of them that I just got hooked. It was told by that many different people. Like there was 6 points of view. There was loads of characters. Granted, most of them didn't last very long because it was told by the queens as well, but you were trying to work it out. So far, I know I haven't read many books this year, but I feel like this is still, even in December, this is going to be one of my favourite reads of this year. I'm already planning to reread it. It was mind-blowing. Okay, so with the points of view, I personally get really confused when it comes to having too many narrators. I don't know, I don't really like it. I like it being told by one person, by knowing their story and working everything else out around them. I was a bit ominous when I realised that it was from different points of view, but it worked so well. And if it didn't work, I wouldn't have read it and I wouldn't have finished it. Without having them points of view in, you wouldn't have understood the characters. Each character had their own little secrets that you find out about. Personal life that's going on. No one else sees that. Like, they don't know, none of the other queens knew what one queen was going through, kind of thing. And she didn't know what everyone else was going through. So having them points of view in there made the story. And that's coming from someone that hates having multiple points of view. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about each of the queens. I have a favourite, which I'm sure if you read it you will have a favourite as well. But other than that, there is no order to these queens. No anything to do with the book. This is just how I'm choosing to say them. I'm going to start with Marguerite, who is the oldest of the queens. So she is the Taurian queen, quadrant where Carolee is from. She's not liked by people. Well, none of the queens are really, because they have a set of rules that they have to follow, and it's for them to keep their traditions alive. Like, their people, especially Marguerite and the Taurians, want to kind of move forward and evolve and kind of mix with the other quadrants a bit, and she won't do it. And none of the other queens will as well, because that's how it works, because they're all separate and they all have their own quadrant, they all have their own queen. they rule alongside each other, and if there's a desperate need, they will help each other. But to actually other people or other quadrants, the ability to have what they have is not how it is in this world. So with Marguerite as well, they do all have secrets. Hers was a kind of a big one, and I'm gonna go into more later in the spoiler bit. But I was so certain that I'd figured it out, but I hadn't, and I'm really interested. If any of you have read this book yet or are going to read this, please let me know in the comments if you figured this out, because I was determined that I don't want to spoil it. I'll talk more later. The next queen I'm going to talk about is Iris, who is the Archean queen. She isn't really in the book very much. We hear more about who she was than see her. I think she's just very focused, and like with these rules, she knows what's right for her people even if they don't. The same with Marguerite, like her people want to kind of like evolve and mix and get other things, but she's determined to keep it. She's like, no, this is how it's going to be. Which with her quadrant, which is kind of the natural one, so like everything that they do, they have no electricity, it's all done by hand, everything, and that's really hard for her, because she's had to leave there because they grow up in their quadrants and then move to the palace when their mom dies. Their mom is the queen, so when she dies they move to the palace, and before that they've never been. They're not allowed to go. Having to leave all that and to go somewhere where the things that you don't believe in and where you're from, like your quadrant doesn't believe in, you're surrounded by it. And I think she's so strong in that respect, and that she does put her people first. Like she's seen how other quadrants have like lost things because they've used too much electricity, or they're running out of things, and it's that kind of thing where she is like, no, we're staying natural, we're staying what we're good at and what we are meant to be, and we can survive. So yeah, I think she's really cool. She's quite badass. So next one is Cora, who is my favourite queen. She the first time you meet her, you see her from like other queens' points of view, and she comes off as such a bitch. She's from Eodia, which is where Varen's from, and when they're young, they are put in a school, they are taught not to feel. Emotions are weakness for them. So she does come off as so cold and like this uncaring kind of queen, especially when the other queens start to die. But then you get to her point of view and you see her behind closed doors when she's on her own, and it's all facade that she puts up, because again she has secrets, as all the queens do in this absolutely amazing novel that just it really will blow your mind. But she can't show anyone her feelings. She had one person that she could turn to and one person that knew the true her, and she loses them. And after that, I think she wants to fight, she wants to find the killer, she wants to survive, but she doesn't know how, because she doesn't know how to deal with her emotions. And I think it's hard for her because she really is just alone. There is absolutely no one in the palace that understands her. No one in Cordaria that understands her. For me, she's my favourite because personally I relate to her the most. The whole like there's this one scene where she puts up her facade and she's strong and she shows no emotions, and she goes back to her room and she starts crying, and I'm like, that is generally me. So yeah, I think she's definitely one of the biggest influences in the book for me. Okay, so next up is Carolee. Oh, what to even start with? She starts off as this kind of, just a little bit of an asshole at first, I think, because she's this like thief, and she kind of just, her boss is Makiel, who's her best friend, or who she thinks is her best friend, but their relationship is completely one-sided, and he has such like power over her that she doesn't see it, or she's like, it's fine, he's upset, like it'll blow over, it'll go back to normal. I think half the time she's living her own little bubble. But I also think that maybe because she's left her family, I'm not going to spoil it, but things happen with her family and she leaves to join Makiel full time. And part of me just thinks that like the reason she stayed, the reason she's still there, and like she's holding on to this hope that he's still the guy that was her best friend when she was a kid, is to make it worth something, so that she never gave up her family and she never gave up her life at home for nothing. I do love her though, because she's such a strong female, but she does develop, and you do see, especially when Varin comes along and he does kind of start to get this other side of her out. Like she opens up about her past, her regrets and that kind of thing. And like, I think as well, the fact that they're from two different quadrants, she kind of understands how she has been living in her own little world and she hasn't really been thinking about other people. She has these like realistic weaknesses where she's so impulsive and she doesn't really listen and does what she wants, or she only listens to certain people. And she has these opportunities to tell the truth and tell people what's going on, and she just doesn't, because she thinks she's going to get in trouble or other things. And I think having Varin there kind of, it does, like, it's slow, it is really slow between them, but seeing their relationship develop, because it's great for the fact that he brings out this side of her where, okay, yeah, she is this thief and she does do all these bad things, but she's still the girl that her parents raised her to be. She's still caring, she still loves people, she's still who she used to be. She's not just like this one thing, she's not determined by what she does and her actions, and she does start to think about her actions more. And then with him as well, being from Ionia, he's been to this school where he has no emotions, and there's like these little things that she finds out, and it's like there's these glimpses where there's something under the surface there just waiting to come out, but he holds it back because that's what his quadrant is telling him to do. And she really helps to like kind of get that out of him, and he helps to bring out the best side of her, which I think is great. And I think their romance, even though you don't see much of it, which for me I hated because I loved them, I did love the fact that it was built more of a friendship, and the, you know, it was realistic. It was something that built over time. It's not just one of these books where all of a sudden like they meet, they fall in love, it happens all at once, because it's not. And that's not what happens. Okay, so I am going to be talking about the plot now, so this is my spoiler alert. If you do not want to get spoiled for this book, please stop watching. The main twist that I want to talk about, and it's just, oh, absolutely mind-blowing. Queen Marguerite, daughter, right? I was determined, as soon as they said daughter, as soon as they said her age, I was like, it's got to be Carolee. It has to be. It was one of them, like, you just, and with books like this, you do always find it's the most obvious answer. It's always going to be the heroine. It's always going to be something like that. And it wasn't. And I was sitting there like, what the hell is going on? It's not her. How is this possible? Like, I really thought that, like, the ending was going to be this one of these where it was like, it's Carolee, she finds out, she gets crowned queen, they end up being together, it's all sweetie sweetie. And it wasn't, and I was just, I was mind blown. I had to reread that chapter or re-listen to that chapter so many times just to have it sink in that, like, oh. And the fact that Arabella is the daughter and she's the villain, and it's like, what the hell? It was amazing. I think this is one of the reasons I got so gripped and so hooked by this book. You can't guess what's going to happen. And the assassin, oh my god. I knew it couldn't be Makil, because that was a bit obvious. But I never expected it to be Carolee. Like, how can someone who's trying to stop the assassin and save the queens be the one to kill them? I can't even. I've been telling my friends all about this book and trying not to spoil it because I want them to read it. And they don't understand. Like, I'm saying little things and they're like, I don't get what you're saying. And it's like, please read this so I can tell you. I can't even. There are no words to explain my emotions when reading this and when listening to it. This is why it's taken me so long to do the video, because I'm trying still to realise that this is real and this has happened. Okay, so like overall, this has been a 5 out of 5 for me. A few little things kind of bugged me at the end. I don't know, I just felt like from how it developed throughout, it seemed to finish rather quickly. Like, they found the assassin, this happened, and it's over. You want to know more, which I get, that's the end of the story, that's the end of the plot, but it would have been nice to find out a little bit extra. But one thing I did really enjoy, like I said, was the fact that it wasn't a happy ending. But then at the same time, you know, there are so many books where boy meets girl, they fall in love, happy ever after. It wasn't like that. Like, yeah, she met with her parents, she was going back home, and she invited him to go with her. And they were just going to see how it goes, like a normal relationship. Like, actual like real life. It felt real. So this is one of these books where it doesn't happen for me very often. I could literally picture everything going on inside my head. So I think this would make a really great movie, and I need to have a look and see if they're going to do it. It's going to be brilliant if they do. I could not recommend this more. It's absolutely my top read so far of this year, and I'm pretty sure it's going to stay in my top 5 minimum. Okay, so thank you guys for watching. I know I have gone on a bit and said the same things, but I feel really passionate. It's fine. So thank you. I will let you go. Bye.